Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another pre-market stream here. So hopefully the sound and everything is good here this morning, and we're not starting off with like some crazy echo or anything we shouldn't be starting off with. That'd be great. Looks good. Seems good. Seems like everything's working all right so far. All right, so there's only one stock I'm really watching today. I mean, again, always keep an eye on some other ones, but really it's just Roku. That is probably the only stock that I'm very adamant about trading today. Unless there's something else that I've missed somewhere else along the lines, but today Roku is the most promising stock that I've seen. So, good stuff. Morning. Thank you. Good morning, Brian, Kim, Infinity, all you guys. Good morning. So let's get into sharing the screen. We're going to have quite a bit of extra time here, I'd say, because in reality, Roku is, again, the only stock I'm really watching. And here we are. So we mentioned yesterday that if Roku started to kind of break down some of these levels, we have more of a bearish outlook, but considering it's held and it grinded up all day long and we're on a gap up this morning, definitely going to be watching Roku long bias. So the main thing with Roku was that we wanted to see price action initially over the 110 area. If we could get over 110, that'd be significant to the long side. And then after that, it's really this last little top action at about 1170, 1175 that the price action would need to get over. And so you can see it's sitting right about 1170 right now, maybe a little less, 1180. So it's hanging out right there just on that previous resistance level. So as long as this holds on 1180, this has a really good chance of just turning into a rip right out of the gates. If we start to break down below 1170s down towards 1160s, then it might be more of a sluggish start on Roku. But right now what you're seeing on Roku is a gap and go setup where we're gapped up, consolidating sideways with very tight range. And as long as it stays within that tight range, doesn't really do too much movement up or down, then there's a better chance we can just see a nice run right out of the gates on Roku today. Okay. So again, that is definitely the main watch today. So ideally, straightforward Roku long bias. Now that we're kind of bouncing up and over most of the resistance points today, and we're going to see if we can take this one long, because now that we've gotten through majority of the resistance, you're into this day here, this big down candle. And since there's really no chop and there's nothing there, there's no resistance going up. It's pretty much just a whole down candle. So you could see a day where it goes up to 126, or, does a crazy move or something like that. So we'll be watching carefully on Roku today. Okay. Cryptocurrencies could very well be worth investing. I mean, that's the age that we're going to go to. Eventually, you won't see paper money. Everything will be a digital format currency. So yes, cryptocurrency could be a very good thing to invest in. Which ones, when, how? I mean, I know how, but yeah, which ones, have no clue. Bitcoin's not I can already tell you right now, Bitcoin's not the future. That's guaranteed. It's not the future. So for all the people buying Bitcoin and holding for dear life, I mean, it doesn't even make sense why you'd be holding Bitcoin. It's out of all the cryptocurrencies there are, it seems, not all, but out of many of the cryptocurrencies it seems the one. Very unlikely that Bitcoin would be your future cryptocurrency because, again, it doesn't make sense. I could go into why, but it did not Bitcoin at least. Brian, I'm not really interested in Alta. After it did its big bounce and then it kind of pulled back aggressively, haven't really been interested in that because the pullback was so aggressive that you're just not going to get a quick, quick bounce back. If anything, it might grind up, but not really crazy about Alta myself. I will touch on that, Mr. Sidar, real quick in a bit here. What do I think about Tesla? I don't really see Tesla having much action today. Same thing with Netflix could. Netflix always tends to see some intraday action, and same thing as Tesla. But Netflix and Tesla aren't really primed up in a particular situation where I'd be wanting to trade them aggressively. But there might be some small intraday setups. Excuse me. But Tesla particularly is not in a setup that I would appear or that appears to have a big running day. I'd say Tesla has, today, maybe tomorrow, or another day of consolidation before really picking a big move. So really not paying attention to Netflix, Tesla at least today. So again, but cryptos are not real assets. They do not produce anything. True. As well with the dollar in your pocket. It's not even real, and it doesn't produce anything. In reality, no currency it does anything. All currency, every currency, right? The only actual use that the dollar bill or $100 bill or $1 million bill, if there was one, the only actual value it has is starting a fire. It can burn. That is actually the only true value that your money has, is that it can actually create a flame. Well, not create, but once it starts on fire, it could keep you warm or help you start another fire. That is the only actual value that has, other than writing on it and then passing it to somebody else for a note. So really it has pretty much no value other than writing or burning. Gold is malleable. Gold could be turned into jewelry. Gold could potentially be turned or formed into a weapon, but then again, gold isn't a very super strong metal, so I don't really know how good it would be used for a weapon. But at least gold, you can physically manipulate it into different products more than just one. Silver can be used in many products. Silver can be used, again, you can see what I'm saying, different metals can actually be used to make something. So that's the value that they really have. But pretty much all currency has really not much value. The value is given by the people whom use it. Like if today the whole world decided that a $100 bill is now worth $5, are you going to give someone $100 worth of service for their $100 bill? Even though the $100 bill says it's a $100 bill, you're not, because the whole rest of the world has deemed it only worth $5. So the value comes from the belief in the system, which is from the people. So as soon as the people don't believe, then there is zero value, just like all currencies. The only true system that actually works 100% is bartering. That is a real system. Fiat money, fiat currency is just a made-up system that only works when people believe it. Without the belief, it doesn't work. Bartering, though, works. Like if I could change your tire and then you paint my room, right? I could fix your brakes and then you paint my house. Exchange of service or exchange of goods for service. But again, it would be really hard to have a system of bartering, because then politicians would all lose their job, because there is nothing that they could provide to us that we'd ever want to give anything back to them. They would all lose their job like that. We'd realize real quickly that a politician's job is not needed, and we'd hate it because we'd be bartering services like being a mechanic or maybe yard work or painting or lighting or an electrician or a builder, and then they come and just argue with us that we're not doing it right and that they should let us tell us how to do their job. You see what I'm saying? So again, a system probably like that wouldn't work. Alrighty. So now that we're off that little cryptocurrency talk, okay, your bail. Ripple is one of the most promising cryptos. Yes. Yes. Yeah, the dollar is backed by nothing. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah. How come the market during that time the market sold off yesterday? Yeah, if we pull up the SPY, you'll see maybe if you pull up pretty much any major index, yeah, you'll see like late day we kind of sold off. That's because the head of wow, brain fart, Jerome Powell, which is the speaker, kind of like the top speaker of the Federal Reserve, was talking yesterday. And anyways, that normally brings in volatility when the Federal Reserve speakers are talking. Connor, I mean, I'll take a look at Amazon, but pretty much a lot of things should be starting with somewhat of a gap up today because the market's gapping up. But yeah, so you can see there's a decent gap up there. Might have some news. Looks like Thinkorswim is not loading very well, so we're just gonna. There we go. Yeah, the only reason that's gapping up is because the market's gapping up this morning, or unless there's some type of reciprocal news on a different stock. But the most recent headline piece here from Amazon's 10.8, it's 10.9, so the likelihood that this is anything news related is not. It's probably just the market gapping up that's driving up Amazon's price currently. Patrick, yes, but actually I'll just send this out right now. So if you look at the very bottom of the chat thread, I just sent out a coupon code that you can use right now for our entire site. Yeah, so yeah, OCGN up 26%, 2 million. I wouldn't even touch it. You know, if you look at it's a recent IPO, the stock got annihilated. Again, it's just not promising. I mean, sure, it might be moving, but nothing that I'd really be crazy about. You know. And even so, right now, the curls are starting down, the spikes are starting up. We might be changing into a curl here, but all in all, you can follow it. I'm not going to trade it. Again, it's just not a particular stock that seems all that great. But, yeah, I mean, if you like to trade small, quick little spikes for 9-10 cents maybe, then sure, but I'll pass on that. Sometimes I'll enter on the bell, depends on the stock, depends on the setup. Sometimes I'll wait 5 minutes, sometimes I'll wait 10 minutes, sometimes it's 30 minutes. All really depends on how I'm feeling and what I'm liking and what's setting up. How many cows for a Tesla? BIOS, for as long as I've been trading, BIOS has never been a good stock. Pretty sure, let me just double check. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this has never been a good, never really been a crazy stock. MU. Yeah, I mean, if you look at MU, let me double check here. Hold on. So it rolled over. Is that right? Yeah, I guess it is. So we came off to bounce, then we came down. Yeah, MU, I mean, for me, isn't really worth trading. Okay, so why would it for me? Why is it not worth trading it? And it's very like it becomes, you know, and the way I point this out is it becomes very simple. Trading becomes pretty simple when you're not trying to like make things up, right? When you're just like, meh, no, doesn't look good. Meh, no, doesn't look good. Okay, that looks good, right? When you stop trying to like guess, and make things that they're not, it becomes very easy, right? And so you have to understand the movement and the flow of a stock. So if we look at this, MU starts to drop out. On the live stream, we literally said, watch MU for a bounce around this 40 level. What happens? It bounces. We traded it a couple times throughout that bounce, right? Okay. So look, it bounces. You can make money on the bounce. That's predictable. We have a big move, drop into previous supports, right? That's a predictable move and a decent, and considering it came from 50 down to 42, 41, there's a decent amount of room that this could bounce back up, right? Look at how big the move down is. Then look at the bounce. Okay. Now look at this move down. Look at the bounce, very small. The smaller the move down, the smaller the bounce. The smaller the move up, smaller the pullback. So the bigger you have a move, once it finds support, the bigger the bounce will usually be. Or when you have a move up, the bigger the move up, the bigger the pullback will be, right? So as we move down and then as we bounce, we have this slight pullback. Now we're starting to bounce a little bit. This bounce, not worth trading to me. It's just not big enough. It's too small, right? This you can make money on, a little bit bigger. This is just too small. So now the only way I'd be trading MU is if what? Is if we're breaking down support where we can lead into another big drop, or we're breaking over this previous top where we could see another big pop. Until then, you will probably see back and forth consolidational range trading on MU until it wedges or finds itself near a breakout or a breakdown where it would be more worth trading at that point. So what stock this morning do I feel is primed for breaking out or in a situation that can have a bigger move? It may not, but it's, to me, in a position where it's more likely to have a bigger move. And today, that stock is Roku. Roku. Big move down, big move down, big move down, big move down, big move down. Okay? Down, 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 consolidating, 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 up and over its resistance. Could go long today. Have a nice move. That's what I mean. Is you have to be able to look at them and kind of realize when it's worth probably watching and when it's not worth watching. There's always money to be made on a stock, but it's now picking which one will probably be easier for you to make money on. So yesterday I said below these support levels would be very, very nervous of, yes, Roku rolling over and tanking. And that is the game of trading, that it can change just like that. You have to be ready for things to change. See, below like the 104.50s, yeah, that would be very sketchy. And you can see we went down right to about 10. Excuse me, let me fix this. It's a little bit lower than that actually. Yeah, so you can see like the low is 104.9 here. And we just tapped 104.9 and then we grinded up all day long. That's a show of strength, right? And now we're back up over a key level for a long play. So this was kind of a key level to watch for a breakdown, adding into a new short. And now we're over 110 and now we're back into a key level for a long play. And that's basically how trading goes. Just a quick change in price action can ultimately change over what's going to happen. Good morning. Those of you maybe coming a little bit later. Why did Ford drop to a penny stock? Because it did. You could say people don't like the cars. You could say investors just don't want to invest in them anymore. You could say that people feel that Ford is no longer going to be a good company, but all negative reasons. People are selling because they don't support the company as much as they used to in the past. So, nothing. Yeah, it's nothing really new. It's kind of been seeing that coming. No, I don't have a strategy where a specific sector is down that I do that. When you do, yeah, that could work for some, but ideally, if you're looking at different sectors and things like, chances are you're having like a portfolio and you're managing portfolios and things, and that's not what I'm doing. No, I'm just looking at specific stocks when they meet specific levels where they should have good interaction or traders would be respecting or looking at those levels, and the stock will most likely move a decent amount. Well, what makes me bullish on Roku? So, Rennie Cardenas. So you have to understand, most of what I do is short-term trading. So what I'm looking at right now has nothing to do with what it's going to be doing 2 weeks from now, right? And I'm assuming your head and shoulders formation would probably be like from here. Excuse me. You're probably looking at a head and shoulders from like maybe here. And then you're saying this is the head and shoulders pattern, which I would agree there is, somewhat of one there. Right? And then it kind of goes up and you'd be like, oh, well, it's going to hit here and then maybe it'll sell off. Yeah, I could see that. But the only difference is we're having a nice rounding bottom, and this could very easily bounce and squeeze off support. So yeah, it could very easily top out and then roll back over. That's definitely, it's definitely possible. Yeah, without a doubt. Ultimately, if you ask me, I'm ultimately bearish Roku, short-term long bias. I see Roku at like $50 personally. That's how I would see Roku. Roku, I personally would price targeting probably on like $60-$50. In the short term, I would say long bias for trading. Investing, I wouldn't even buy. I'm not going to buy Roku. No, not a chance. Thoughts on TVIX? TVIX is directly related to the volatility index, and if the volatility index is going to be down because the market is going to be up, the chance of TVIX having a good day is probably not likely. A lot of people are shifting around portfolios towards the end of the day, getting rid of things that they don't want or buying things that they do want. That's why you're going to see a big kind of volume spike towards the end of the day. Beginning in the morning, you're just seeing a bunch of people flooding in that are just trading in the morning. Mornings are just more active. And then I typically wait till market open to trade. I usually don't trade in pre-market trading. If I was thinking target prices on it, I would say Roku's not going above 130. I would say 130 is a good level to basically say to yourself, probably not getting above, could get 2 on Roku, that is. Advantage, you're going to see some of your quickest, biggest, fastest price spikes in the morning right at the bell. Closing bell, I don't really see. Closing bell gives you if you're watching the closing bell, you have the advantage of seeing how stocks are closing on the day. That's pretty much it. Opening bell, you're going to have the most volatility, fastest moves, biggest spikes, but also going to be some of the harder ones to predict. White dashed line on my chart. I don't have a white dashed line. It's a red dotted line. That would be horizontal supports or resistance lines. Yes, I always advocate having cash on hand to wait for market dips. Absolutely. Do you have a dream car? Nope, I do not. There are still more important things to buy in my life than that. I'm planning on buying in the future. Maybe I might, I actually really like the new Corvette they made, the mid-body engine Corvette. That thing is actually really cool. How do you scan for cheaper IV options? I don't really know because I don't trade options like that. I'm not all into options, but yeah, you could look. Yeah, what you're basically looking at, you're basically scanning for cheap implied volatility options, which, I don't know how cheap you're trying to go, but if you're really looking at cheap options, you're basically buying lottery tickets, and you might as well just go to the gas station and buy lottery tickets. But yeah, if you're trying to do like really far out of the money options to get cheap, then it's not even, you shouldn't be trading those. Have you ever traded futures? Never traded future. Have thought about it though. All right, it's 9:01. I have to get back to our group. Let's see. My style of trading is actually very different from Ross's. We have some similarities, but Ross primarily focuses on low float penny stocks. I really don't. I do, but I don't. I only focus on good low float penny stocks. He He does, again, focus on good low float penny stocks, but he's more adamant about really trying to trade them than I am. I'm just more picky with the ones that I will or won't trade. He usually never trades large caps, so we are fairly different. Yeah. Anyways, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I got to get back to our private group, and before I go, I will post this about 1,000,000 times so you guys can see it and don't forget it or whatnot. That is a coupon code for our website, and you'll get 20% off everything. Feel free to use it if you want. If you don't, that's all good to me. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you guys tomorrow morning for another stream, and after that, have a good day. Stay green.